Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever done everything right? You eat the healthy foods your doctor recommends, you take your daily walks, you follow every instruction to the letter. But you still wake up feeling utterly exhausted, foggy, or just plain achy. As if you haven't slept a wink, even after a full night in bed. It's a deeply frustrating feeling, isn't it? But what if I told you that the source of this draining fatigue isn't inside your body at all? What if it's in the one room you trust to be a sanctuary of healing? Your bedroom. And here is the nightmare that almost no one is talking about. Certain common household items, some of which are likely just inches from your head right now, could be emitting silent stressors that are slowly weakening your body, night after agonizing night. We're talking about a constant, invisible force that emerging research suggests could be disrupting your sleep, clouding your memory, and even affecting your heart rhythm. Now, this is not a far-fetched theory. As a doctor who has spent over 30 years specializing in the health of seniors, I have seen this exact pattern time and time again. The cause is almost always something simple, something overlooked, something most people would never, ever suspect. I'm not just talking about data. I'm talking about real people. People like a retired schoolteacher from Oregon I treated, who suffered from daily headaches for years. Or a brilliant engineer from Michigan who was terrified he was losing his memory. Both of them found profound relief, not from a new pill, but by removing one simple object from their nightstand. That's why I made this video. We will walk through the 5 most common items in your bedroom that could be working against you. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to empower you with simple, practical, and often free solutions to turn your bedroom back into the healing space it was meant to be. And please, make sure you stay with me until the end. Because the 4th danger I'll reveal is something millions of Americans use for comfort, believing it helps their achy joints, when it could actually be making the inflammation worse. Everything I'm about to share is based on my clinical observations and established scientific principles, all explained in a way that just makes sense. So, before we begin, I truly need to know if that feeling I described at the start, that unexplained exhaustion, sounds familiar to you. Please take a moment to comment with a simple yes below. It helps me understand, and it shows others in our community that they are not alone. Okay, let's get started. Alright, let's begin with our first item. Item number 1. The digital alarm clock. Let's start with something almost everyone has sitting right on their nightstand. That trusty digital alarm clock. It seems so innocent, doesn't it? Just a soft, glowing number in the dark, faithfully telling us the time. We rely on it to wake us up, to keep us on schedule. It feels like a harmless part of our daily routine. But that constant glow, that silent presence just inches from your head while you sleep, that could be a very real and significant problem. Here's why. These clocks, especially the ones that are plugged into the wall, emit a constant, low-level stream of energy called electromagnetic fields, or EMFs. Now, that sounds technical, but I want you to think of it in a much simpler way. Imagine it as a tiny, invisible hum of stress, radiating out into your space all night long. It's not something you can see or hear, but your body can feel it. Now, for a younger person, this might not be a big deal. Their bodies are more resilient. But as we get older, something important changes within us. Our body's natural defenses and repair systems begin to slow down, and our brains become more sensitive to these outside influences. This is the core of the issue. This constant, close-range exposure to EMFs can disrupt your body's production of a vitally important hormone called melatonin. Melatonin is your body's natural sleep signal. It's the hormone that tells your brain it's time for deep, restorative sleep. The kind of sleep where your body truly heals, repairs cells, and consolidates memories. When melatonin production is suppressed, even just a little bit, you simply cannot get the quality of rest your body is crying out for. And this is the crucial part. This disruption is often why you might wake up with that dull, nagging headache that just won't go away. It's why you might have that heavy, tired feeling behind your eyes, even after 8 hours in bed. It's the source of that frustrating brain fog that makes you feel slow and unfocused in the morning. These aren't just random symptoms of getting older. They are often direct signals from your body that its nightly healing process was interfered with. This reminds me so much of a patient of mine, a wonderful woman named Eleanor, a 73-year-old retired schoolteacher from Portland, Oregon. She came to me suffering from terrible morning headaches and a fatigue so deep she said she felt like she was walking through mud every single day. We had tried everything. We adjusted her diet, her medications, you name it. Nothing worked. On a hunch, just a simple doctor's hunch, I asked her to describe her bedroom to me. And there it was, a bright, red-numbered digital clock, sitting right by her pillow for the last 10 years. I suggested a small experiment. "Eleanor," I said, "just for 1 week, let's swap that clock for an old-fashioned battery-powered one from the drugstore. The kind with hands." She was skeptical, but agreed to try. She called me a week later, and I could hear the life back in her voice. The headaches were gone. Completely gone. She told me, and I'll never forget her words, "It's like a heavy curtain has been lifted from my mind. I feel clearer than I have in a decade." It wasn't a miracle pill. It was simply removing that tiny, constant stressor from her environment. So, here is the wonderfully simple solution. The most effective fix is to replace it. A simple, battery-operated analog clock costs less than $15 at most stores and emits absolutely zero of this disruptive energy. It's a small investment in your morning clarity. But if you're not ready to do that, here's what you can do tonight, right after watching this video, and it won't cost you a penny. Just move that clock at least 6 feet away from your bed. Put it on a dresser across the room. This one small change can make an enormous difference by giving your brain the peaceful, low-energy environment it needs to properly rest and heal. If you're ready to reclaim the deep, healing sleep you deserve, take a moment and comment the word sleep down below. It's a small step, a declaration to yourself that you're taking back control of your nights. Let's do this together. Alright, now let's move on to the second item on our list, and this one is a major culprit in our modern homes. Item number 2. The Wi-Fi router. Next up is a device we all rely on, something that connects us to our family, to the news, and to the world. The Wi-Fi router. For the sake of convenience, many of us keep it in a central location, and often that ends up being in or very near the master bedroom. From a practical standpoint, it makes sense. But from a health standpoint, especially for those of us over 65, this is a significant mistake. Here is the fundamental difference. Unlike the steady, low-level hum from a clock, a router emits powerful, pulsating radio frequencies, and it does this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. These waves are designed to travel. They pass through walls, through floors, and they certainly pass through our bodies. The primary concern here, from a medical perspective, is the potential impact these constant signals can have on our brain and our heart rhythm during our most vulnerable hours of the night. Now, why is this particularly important for seniors? Well, our bodies have an amazing natural defense system called the blood-brain barrier. You can think of it as a very fine, very selective filter that protects our delicate brain tissue from unwanted substances. As we age, this barrier can naturally become a bit more, well, leaky or porous. The core theory that many experts are now exploring is that this increased permeability may allow these persistent radio frequencies to create a state of low-grade, inflammatory stress directly on the brain, disrupting the critical process of memory consolidation that is supposed to happen while we sleep. This brings us to the symptoms you might actually feel. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, or first thing in the morning, with a heart that feels like it's racing or fluttering for no apparent reason? Or have you felt that your short-term memory, things like names or why you walked into a room, just isn't what it used to be? We often dismiss this as just getting older, but this invisible, nightly interference could very well be a contributing factor. This reminds me of a patient I'll never forget, a man named Robert, a 71-year-old retired engineer from Michigan. He had been as sharp as a tack his entire life, but he came to my office deeply worried. He was forgetting appointments, and he was experiencing those very same heart palpitations I just described. His cardiologist had run all the tests and found nothing seriously wrong, which was both a relief and a frustration for him. During our conversation, I asked him my usual question about his bedroom environment. It turned out his router was sitting on his bedroom dresser, no more than 8 feet from his head. I suggested he try an experiment. I told him, "Robert, move that router downstairs to your home office. And let's go one step further. Go to the hardware store and buy a simple outlet timer. You can get one for about $10. Plug the router into it, and set it to shut off automatically from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. He was an engineer, so he appreciated the logical approach. The results were astounding. Within 3 weeks, he came back to my office. The heart flutters were gone. Completely. And his wife, with tears in her eyes, said he was back to his old self, sharp and present. It was a life-changing result from a $10 fix. So, here is the simple, empowering solution. Move your router out of the bedroom. The ideal place is a central spot in your home, like the living room or an office, as far away from where you sleep as possible. And for true peace of mind, adopt Robert's strategy. Use that simple timer to turn it off automatically while you sleep. You don't need to be connected to the internet when you are sleeping. Protect your brain's precious healing time. Make a plan to move your router this weekend. This one was a real surprise to me when I first learned about the research. If it was a surprise to you too, please take a moment and comment, "Wow," below. It helps to know which of these points are truly eye-opening for you. Now, for our third item. This one is about the very air you breathe while you sleep. Item number 3. Plug-in air fresheners. We all want our homes to smell pleasant, clean, and welcoming. It's a source of comfort. And those convenient plug-in air fresheners seem like the perfect, effortless solution. You plug one in, and for weeks, a gentle scent fills the room. But I'm here to tell you that these seemingly innocent devices create a double threat in your bedroom. And it's a threat that is particularly serious for older lungs. Here's the first problem. Just like the alarm clock, these devices are plugged into your wall, and they emit their own small electromagnetic field. But honestly, that's the lesser of the two issues. The much bigger problem is what they actively pump into the air you breathe. They release a continuous, fine mist of synthetic chemicals, which are technically known as volatile organic compounds, or VOCs. These are not natural fragrances. They are man-made chemicals designed to mimic scents like lavender or fresh linen. And you are breathing them in, deeply, all night long. So, why does this matter more as we age? It's simple biology. As the years go by, our lungs naturally lose some of their elasticity and efficiency. Our airways become more sensitive. A chemical irritant that a 20-year-old might not even notice can cause a state of chronic, low-grade respiratory inflammation in someone over the age of 65. This can lead to a persistent, dry, hacking cough or a constant feeling of tightness in your chest, especially in the mornings. This directly connects to symptoms that many people blame on allergies or dry air. If you often wake up feeling congested, or with a scratchy, irritated throat that never seems to go away, that little device glowing quietly on your wall could be the real culprit. I saw a clear example of this with a patient named Carol, a lovely 77-year-old widow from Florida. She loved her home and took great pride in keeping it fresh. She had a plug-in in nearly every room, including one right next to her bed that released a calming lavender scent. For years, she had been battling a nagging, dry cough. Her doctors had given her syrups, inhalers, and allergy tests, but nothing helped. Then, she went to visit her daughter's family for a week. Her daughter, as it happened, was very sensitive to synthetic scents and had none in her home. After just 3 or 4 days, Carol realized something amazing. Her cough had vanished. When she returned home, it came back within 2 days. That was the aha moment. With her daughter's encouragement, she went around her house and unplugged every single air freshener. Instead, they placed a small open bowl of baking soda in the corner of each room to quietly absorb odors. For a pleasant scent, she put a few drops of pure, natural essential oil on a cotton ball and placed it on her dresser, far from her bed. The cough went away for good. It was that simple. She had been unknowingly poisoning her own air, night after night. So, here is the clear, healthy path forward. Unplug all of them. Immediately. Let your lungs heal. For a truly fresh and clean-smelling home, rely on natural solutions. Open your windows when you can. Use simple baking soda to absorb odors. If you enjoy a pleasant scent, use a few drops of a high-quality, pure essential oil. By removing those artificial chemicals, you are giving your body, especially your lungs, the gift of truly clean air to breathe while you rest and recover. If you're committed to breathing cleaner, healthier air tonight, please comment the word "breathe" below. It's a powerful statement for your own well-being. Okay, let's move on to our fourth item. And please, listen closely to this one, because it's the one I warned you about at the beginning. It's a device that millions of Americans turn to for comfort, especially for achy joints. Item number 4. Electric blankets and heating pads. On a cold winter's night, for those of us with arthritis or stiff muscles, an electric blanket can feel like a true blessing. The gentle, consistent warmth seems to soothe the pain and help us drift off to sleep. Feels deeply comforting. But what if I told you that you are essentially wrapping your entire body in an active, low-grade electrical field for 8 hours straight? Let me explain the science in a simple way. The thin wires woven into these blankets generate heat, but they also generate a surprisingly strong electromagnetic field that penetrates deep into your body, into your muscles, your joints, and your organs. The core issue here is a word we hear a lot about as we get older: inflammation. There is a growing concern among researchers that this kind of constant, direct electrical exposure may actually stimulate a low-level inflammatory response in your cells, night after night. Now, why is this so critically important for seniors? Many of us are already fighting a daily battle with inflammation from conditions like arthritis. We take medications and watch our diet to try and keep it under control. Using an electric blanket all night long, every night, might be like pouring a tiny, invisible stream of gasoline on that fire. It can silently counteract our other efforts, potentially making joint stiffness and muscle aches even worse in the long run. This brings us to a very confusing symptom. Do you ever find that your joints actually feel stiffer and more painful in the morning, even after being wrapped in what you thought was soothing warmth all night? Or do you experience unexplained muscle aches that don't seem related to any activity? It's a frustrating paradox. The very thing you are using for comfort could be contributing to the underlying problem. I had a patient, Margaret, a 75-year-old retired nurse from the very cold state of Minnesota. She swore by her electric blanket and couldn't imagine sleeping without it. Yet, she came to me, perplexed by her worsening knee and hip pain. I explained my concerns about inflammation and EMFs, and I convinced her to try an experiment, just for 2 weeks. She packed away the electric blanket. Instead, we planned a new strategy. She layered her bed with soft flannel sheets and a thick wool comforter, which are fantastic natural insulators. And for that initial blast of warmth, she started using an old-fashioned hot water bottle at her feet about 10 minutes before she got into bed. She was absolutely shocked by the difference. She reported that her morning stiffness had reduced by more than half. She was sleeping more soundly and waking up with less pain than she had in years. She had traded the electric warmth for a more natural, healing warmth. So, here is the safe and effective solution. Please, hear this. Use the electric blanket to warm your bed before you get in. That's perfectly fine. But then, unplug it from the wall before you climb in for the night. Allow your body to rest in an electrically quiet environment. For all-night coziness, invest in natural fibers. Wool, flannel, and down hold body heat beautifully without any risk. Choose a warmth that heals, not a warmth that quietly harms. Try the preheating method tonight. This is a big one, I know. If you've ever used an electric blanket or heating pad for comfort, please comment the word comfort below. You are most certainly not alone in this, and sharing that helps us all. And now, we've arrived at our final item. This is the most modern threat of all, something that didn't even exist for most of our lives, but has now found its way onto nearly every nightstand in America. Item number 5. The charging cell phone on the nightstand. Finally, let's talk about the cell phone. Specifically, the one that is likely sitting on your nightstand right now, plugged into the wall, charging just a foot or two from your pillow. We use it as our alarm clock, our connection to family, our lifeline in case of an emergency. It feels indispensable. But allowing it to charge next to your head all night long is a profound disservice to your brain's ability to heal. Here's the science made simple. When a phone is just sitting there, it's intermittently communicating with cell towers. But when it's plugged in and actively charging, and especially if it's also connected to Wi-Fi and receiving notifications, it emits a significant and constant field of radio frequency radiation. I want you to think of it this way. It's like having a miniature Wi-Fi router sitting right next to your brain, broadcasting signals all night long. Now, why is this an amplified problem for those of us over 65? Just as we've discussed with the other items, our aging bodies are simply more susceptible to these kinds of environmental stressors. Our sleep architecture becomes lighter and more easily disturbed. The primary concern with a charging phone is its proven ability to disrupt our deep sleep cycles. I'm talking about stage 3 and 4 sleep, the periods where the most critical work gets done. This is when your brain cleanses itself of metabolic waste products, consolidates memories from the day, and triggers the release of hormones that repair tissues throughout your body. Interfering with this process, night after night, year after year, can have a cumulative and detrimental effect on both cognitive and physical health. This directly relates to a very specific set of symptoms. Do you ever wake up feeling strangely wired but tired? You feel exhausted, but your mind is racing, and you can't fall back asleep. Or do you feel like your sleep was very shallow, almost as if you were just skimming the surface of rest all night, caught in a whirlwind of vivid dreams? These are classic signs of sleep cycle interference. Your body is trying to drop into that deep, healing state, but the constant radio frequency stimulation is keeping it tethered to a lighter, less restorative stage of sleep. Over the years in my practice, I have seen dozens, perhaps even hundreds, of patients dramatically improve their sleep quality with one single powerful change. They stop using their phone as an alarm clock. It's a hard habit to break, I know. It has become second nature. But they make a conscious decision. They go out and buy a simple $10 battery-operated alarm clock, just like the one we talked about earlier, and they create a new nightly routine. The phone gets plugged in to charge, overnight, in the kitchen, or the living room, or the home office, anywhere but the bedroom. One of my patients, a 68-year-old gentleman, described the change perfectly. He told me, "Doc, the first few nights were strange. I felt like something was missing, but by the fourth night, I slept more deeply than I have in 20 years. I had forgotten what it felt like to wake up feeling truly quiet inside." He had forgotten what it felt like because his brain hadn't experienced a truly quiet, undisturbed night in years. The results, deeper sleep, clearer mornings, and a more peaceful mind, are more than worth the initial inconvenience. So, the solution here is a firm but simple rule. The bedroom is for sleeping. It is not a charging station for your electronic devices. Give your brain a true break from the constant informational and electromagnetic bombardment of the modern world. Make the kitchen your phone's new bedroom. Start tonight. Let's make a pact, right here, right now. It's a commitment to our own health. If you are going to try this, if you're willing to charge your phone outside the bedroom tonight, please comment, "I promise," below. It's a promise to yourself, and a powerful encouragement to everyone else in our community reading these words. As we come to the end of our time together, I want you to think back to how we started. Remember those feelings we talked about at the very beginning? That frustrating, unexplained exhaustion, that persistent brain fog, those nagging morning aches and pains. I hope that after exploring these 5 hidden dangers, you now see them in a new light. You know now that they may not just be an inevitable part of getting older. They might, in fact, be clear signals from your body, little whispers in the dark, asking for a calmer, a cleaner, and an electronically quieter environment to do its vital healing work each night. We've talked about Eleanor and her headaches, Robert and his heart palpitations, Carol and her nagging cough. These weren't complicated medical mysteries. Their suffering wasn't caused by a rare disease. It was caused by a clock, a router, and an air freshener. Their stories are a powerful reminder that sometimes the simplest changes can bring the most profound healing. And that leads me to the most powerful message I can possibly leave you with today. It is this: you have so much more control over your day-to-day health than you might think. True, lasting wellness often begins not with a new, expensive prescription, but with the small, simple, mindful choices you make within the 4 walls of your own home, especially in your own bedroom. Knowledge is a powerful tool, but it only creates change when we put it into action. So now, as we wrap up, I have one very important question for you. After hearing all of this today, what is the one commitment you are making to yourself this week? It doesn't have to be big. It could be as simple as, "I will move my alarm clock tonight," or "I promise to buy a timer for my router this weekend," or I will unplug the air freshener in my bedroom. Please, share your personal commitment in the comments section below. Writing it down makes it real. It solidifies your intention, and more importantly, your single promise might be the exact inspiration another person in our community needs to see today to make a change for themselves. And if you found real value and encouragement in our time together, please show your support by giving this video a thumbs up. It truly helps more people who need this information to find it. To ensure you continue on this journey with us, and never miss another video full of health tips to help you thrive, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's more than just a click. It's your way of joining a wonderful community of people dedicated to living their golden years with health, vitality, and peace of mind. Finally, think of just one person, a friend, a sibling, a loved one, who needs to hear this message. Please consider sharing this video with them. That one simple act of sharing could truly make a difference in their sleep, their health, and their life. Thank you so much for your time and your trust. Until next time, may your nights be peaceful and your mornings bright. Take care.